My father planned to move in my nephews with me without my knowledge.
Just move out. Just move out.
Yeah, move out. Give your nephews no place to go.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if this is the right sub for this, but in this moment, as the only blood-related woman on my father's side of the family, it feels gendered. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. By the way, this comes from user Slender Selkie, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, a few days ago, my dad came over to my house for the first time in quite a while. I've had a lot of renovations done since he last saw the place when we first moved in. I have a nervous system condition, which, while very fortunate to be able to manage it in such a way that it usually doesn't impact my life most days out of any given month, they can render simple tasks very difficult for me when I'm having a flare. It's also important as a part of managing my condition and maintaining my high level of function to limit certain activities which can bring about a crash or a flare. My husband is also disabled. He has hypermobile EDS. So together we made a list of things we'd love to have as accommodations in the home we share. And we either DIY'd those things or found contractors to do them for us. I am really happy with the results. I find that these accommodating renovations make my life a lot easier. I have fewer crashes and overall more energy. My husband is elated with how much more functional he can be after we made these changes. My father isn't a fan. He thinks it all makes the house too weird. And you know, when our parents have funny thoughts like this, you know what we say?
Oh, Dad.
Okay.
Oh, you silly goofball. Hey.
Does it? All right.
Hey, guess what? It's my house. I can do whatever I want with it.
Wow. Well, I'll make sure I won't sell the house to you then.
Yeah.
Okay. He's worried about the resale value, and we're not even planning on selling anytime soon. He had a lot of comments when he came over. In fact, it was almost all he talked about. I kept trying to gently tell him that this is just what works for us and then divert the subject, but he was getting a bit worked up, which isn't really like him in those types of situations. The plan for his visit was he'd come over, meet my foster dog that he might adopt, and take the dogs for a walk and then get lunch. When I left him alone for a minute to go use the bathroom after we'd walked the dogs, I came back out and found that he'd attempted to pull one of our accommodating mechanisms out of the kitchen wall.
Can you imagine? Just him like, that doohickey doesn't look right. Let me just...
I'm just imagining him
that
like
looks better.
yanking like something bolted into the
100%.
kitchen wall, and it's like
that doesn't look like it's kitchen up to kitchen date.
But that's like, I'm like, at that point, I'm immediately like, because especially if it's like he's never done anything like this, I'm like, are you all right? We need to go doctor? MRI? Is it the tumor? Like, I don't know. That's what just random 180 personality changes. Make sure it's not a tumor. He hadn't caused any functional damage, but he did cause aesthetic damage, which, let's be honest, is worse. In that it will now need to be repainted. Ugh. Aesthetics over everything. I was shocked and kind of hysterical in my reaction, and I raised my voice at him when I saw what he was doing. I think I yelled, "What the F are you doing, Dad? What's your problem?" Which sounds like a pretty generally okay response to that.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
He responded, "I just wanted to see if it was removable. Sorry. It's just too weird. It's too weird. It's just not going to work when Billy and Bobby move in with you." Billy and Bobby are my nephews, my brother's children. I have never invited them to stay with me, let alone move in for any amount of time, and I've never been asked to do so. Even in the event that my brother and sister-in-law passed away in some tragic manner, to my knowledge, I should be very far down a very long list of people who could be asked to take those kids in before I would be asked. So I was pretty shocked that my dad would say something like that out of the blue and with so much frustrated emotion about Billy and Bobby moving in, because there's no reason to my knowledge for anyone to think that would possibly be happening. I asked him to clarify repeatedly, but he just waved it off and told me, forget he said anything. He didn't want to talk about it. He's like, "Oh, forget I said the thing I'm not supposed to say. Sorry.
I ruined the surprise."
Yeah. Oh, dang it. Oh, I was supposed to spring that on you at the last second so you couldn't say no. Dang it.
In the words of an old fool.
Let me take this doohickey and put it back. Yeah.
That's the two. I have a tumor. We have to go to the doctor. I pressed him. All he said was, "Well, honey, it's a massive house. You have room for 2 boys.
You have such a big house.
When I asked him why he would even bring it up, though, and clarified that not only did I have absolutely no desire to host my nephews for a visit, let alone for them to move in, he clammed up again and just said, forget I ever said anything. He apologized for damaging my home, immediately transferred a larger sum than necessary to me via Zelle to fix the scratch he'd made, then took me out to lunch, as we planned prior. The rest of the day with him was pretty normal, and I guess I was just a little shocked or something because I didn't bring it up again. But now that it's been a few days, I can't get it out of my head, and I'm so annoyed. First of all, my dad hasn't ever been and would never be that aggressive about any decoration or renovation in my brother's homes. He just wouldn't, and I can't help but feel that he is less respectful of my home because I'm a woman, which sucks. But more upsetting and confusing is what the F was he talking about in terms of my nephews? Is my family conspiring in some way to move those kids in with me? It wouldn't be the first time that my family assumed I'd take care of those kids without asking me first, but in the past, it was just babysitting, and I have directly told everyone that even that is unacceptable. So I would be really shocked if my brother or sister-in-law thought that was acceptable. I guess I'm just spinning out and don't really know what to do about it. I'm stuck between asking my father about it again or just reaching out to my brother directly. And we have some comments from OP, but before that, folks, Keon, Sophia, what do we do?
Well, we didn't do the rule of 3. We asked him twice, not 3 times. Remember, she's like, what did you mean about my nephews? He's like, don't worry about it. What did you mean about my nephews?
No, don't worry about it. You said it 3 times, and I have to
it's
answer.
like Beetlejuice. You got to say it 3 times, and he'll be like, all right, you activated it.
Someone asked, is there something wrong with your brother that he can't raise his own kids? OP says there's nothing wrong. To my knowledge, my brother isn't looking to move his kids out of his own home either. They are sometimes difficult kids, a little delayed and a lot of entitled and enabled behavior. In the past, they've leaned heavily on family for childcare since my brother has a demanding job and my sister-in-law has a hard time being alone with her kids. When I lived with my dad, I was a big part of that equation and ended up being more responsible for those kids than I'd have agreed to because I wasn't in control of telling them if they could bring the kids over, as it was my father's house. Even when I still lived with my dad, I was able to establish some boundaries and assert that I wouldn't agree to care for them on demand, and that was generally respected after I put my foot down a few times. Another commenter says, I would definitely try to get more info from your dad, but failing that, it wouldn't be bad to talk to your brother. It seems like a really out-of-pocket thing to say unless he has some serious information you don't. OP says it's incredibly out of pocket. Not only do I not want those kids to live with me, but I also would assume that my brother wouldn't want his kids to live with me. There are a million reasons why, but chiefly, it wouldn't be a good idea safety-wise for those kids. I've been dealing with a stalker for years who has already threatened me that she would harm my nephews, at which point I distanced myself from Billy and Bobby. I stopped picking them up from school and stuff, and the threats directed at them stopped.
What was that? What was that?
Who is your stalker, and why are they not in jail after they threaten children?
Yeah, that seemed like a very big, missing, important part.
What?
Do they not know about this? Because they should also know about this, too. The nephews and their parents. Your brother and sister-in-law should know about. Everyone in your family should know about this.
That should be the whole story. What are we talking about?
What?
A stalker threatened your nephews. So it's
Yeah.
not even, maybe it's not even about the nephews being bad. There's just like, well, there are threats against their lives. So they shouldn't be at my house. What are we doing?
That was such a nonchalant,
Oh
just
my
like,
God.
let me just throw that ingredient in there. What?
Okay. I think they're elaborating on the situation here.
I hope so.
Currently, I'm working on taking legal action, but nothing is set in stone. And even the idea of those kids who are difficult, but who I also love very much, being in my home makes me worried that they would be directly targeted or that there would be some escalation. I actually can't imagine that my family would think it's a good idea to move those kids in with me. Like, I can't imagine circumstances where that would seem appropriate. A commenter says, yeah, particularly given that information, but even without it, it's hard to imagine your brother or sister-in-law would want or expect you to take care of their kids short of some kind of serious health or relationship emergency. And even then, that wouldn't be something for your dad to be concerned about unless he's a particularly worrying person. OP says even if there's an emergency, I simply cannot be the first person on their list to take those kids in. I'm the only younger female blood relative, I guess, but there are so many other relatives and family friends who need to come before me on that list. My brother and sister-in-law have a massive village, so I'm talking dozens. It's baffling to me that it would come down to me to take care of those kids in any circumstances. Commenter says, the fact that he was actively trying to tear your house apart is a huge red flag. My bet is your brother is getting a divorce and they were just going to dump them on you since his job is so demanding. Dang, I did not think about that.
I'm still trying to piece the parts together here. This puzzle is very confusing. It's very all over the place where I'm like, no one's telling you anything. Your father's not telling you anything, and he has definitely some information that he's hiding. I guarantee you, like, oh, the missing puzzle piece here is just OP letting the nephew stay with you, and that's gonna fit right there to be perfect. There's so much going on here that does not make sense.
Well, I just, because she's disabled, so is your partner.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like that is the reason that she's like, I should be down low. I am disabled. I have to take care of myself and my partner. We're taking care of each other. I don't necessarily have the capability to take care of 2 children.
No.
What are we talking about?
And no one's asking. They're just assuming.
I think, and you know what Dad's vibe is? I think Dad's vibe is like, oh, you're putting all this stuff in the house. It's unnecessary. Sometimes people just don't believe that things are real. Like, it's if you have a disability or you have an issue, if it's not something you can just see, like it's like your leg is messed up. If it's like, oh, my nerves are wrong and it causes me to be in pain. You know, there's certain people who'll be like, yeah, but are they? Is it? Are you? It's like, anyway, he's giving me some of that energy.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep reading.
Mm-hmm.
OP says in response to maybe they're divorced, honestly, I feel like an effing idiot that the 2 of them getting divorced hadn't even crossed my mind. Not that they have an actively bad marriage or anything, but I think their dynamic is weird, and I guess I wouldn't be shocked. Thank you for this insight. I mean, either way, it's a no from me for various reasons. Commenter says, better yet, group text them. Guys, I'm worried about Dad. He came over the other day and kind of flipped out about our disability accommodations and tried to rip one off of the wall, and then he thought Billy and Bobby were coming to live here, but couldn't explain why. I'm worried. Has anyone else noticed strange, aggressive behavior? That's actually a great thing because that might even be real.
Yeah.
If you're really like, none of this makes any sense, why is my dad saying this? You go, hey, why is Dad saying this? It makes no sense. Because maybe he's actually going through something. OP says, I think I'll go with this, but on a call. I want to hear a response in real time. My dad has normalized triangulation a bit too much in this family for my comfort. How old is your dad? Could he be having a sort of mental episode that he thinks your nephews are supposed to move in with you? Barring that, I'd ask your brother, hey, do you have any idea why Dad would say this? Is something going on? OP says he's in his 70s, but he's still sharp enough to be working. I asked my older brother, nebulously without mentioning the reason why, who works with my dad every day, if he'd noticed any decline. He said Dad seems sharp as ever in their work environment. It's pretty mentally demanding work, so I think it would be evident there. I'll also note, though, my dad rejected an OCD diagnosis when he was in therapy after my parents' divorce. So he's not without any history of mental illness. Not sure if that would cause this behavior, though. Commenter said, if this is a new development, it may be a UTI. Symptoms of an undiagnosed UTI can mimic early-stage dementia, and UTIs can have no physical symptoms like burning or pain during urination in the early stages. Look up silent UTIs. What? That's crazy.
That's good to know.
Read the next sentence.
Yeah. OP said, oh crap, Dad has gotten several UTIs before. Just Googled it, and I had no clue that they could be silent or that they could impact cognition. Wow. Is your dad okay with your and your husband's disabilities? Sounds ableist that he was trying to remove them, like he was trying to remove the reminder of your disability and then came up with a nonsensical excuse after the fact. OP says, my dad is in utter denial that I'm disabled. He only briefly accepted when my symptoms were severe and I couldn't work, but after I started my own business, he's basically just been totally averse to the idea that I need to manage my symptoms and thinks I'm being dramatic. And then people asking several questions about the stalker. It's okay. OP says, she's someone I used to be friends with, and honestly, it's my bad because I hung in there Even when I realized she was becoming mentally unstable, she became fixated on my husband when he and I began dating, and I became the enemy in her eyes. And Dad does not take the stalking seriously at all. This woman has stalked him too and done property damage to his house. We have an update. Okay.
So you were kind of
good info.
Right on the point, though.
Right on the money.
Yeah, the dad doesn't like care about anything.
Dad
like,
thinks the disability's fake.
Yeah. He even thinks the stalking's fake.
He's thinking kids these days they're just lazy. When I was a kid, my nervous system had to walk uphill in the snow both ways. Update. I talked to my brother on the phone about the situation, and he expressed that he had absolutely no idea why our father would imply that Billy and Bobby would need to move in with me at any point. He seemed genuinely surprised and to have no clue what the heck Dad was talking about. He claims to have absolutely never expressed anything like that to our dad. I believe him. I asked him if there was any possible reason at all that Dad would think that I'd need to take in my nephews. Like, is there some problem Dad thinks he's pre-solving without consulting either of us? Is there an illness or impending divorce or anything I don't know about? My brother assured me that there is nothing like that going on, and that, as I assumed, I, of course, wouldn't even be near the top of the list of permanent caregivers, even if something was going on, because he knows I run 2 businesses out of my house and also just am not up for taking his kids in unless I'm the absolute last safe resort.
Boom. Great. Well, that's one problem solved.
Wow.
Very easy. You just asked.
Both of us are in agreement, as is our older brother, that Dad generally doesn't seem to have any other signs that we've noticed of declining cognitive function. But since this was such a strange outburst, we're still concerned that this is just the earliest sign. My brother, Billy and Bobby's dad, is going to talk to our dad about it ASAP and see what he says or what explanation he can give, and then we'll go from there. And by the way, you can go from here to your podcast platform of choice and listen to full episodes with stories just like this. I'm talking Spotify. I'm talking Apple Podcasts. I'm talking iHeartRadio. Yeah. Just search OK Storytime and you can find all the stories you'll ever want to listen to in your whole life.
Yeah.
The issue that we're both aware of is that my dad, while a loving father and good man to many, is a bit of a liar and a lot of a manipulator. He has a lot of signs of OCD and gets fixated on things, then tries to manipulate to get his way with his fixation. He means well, but he has been known to be full of crap and to have his own strange agendas that don't have much to do with anyone else's wants or needs. So unfortunately, my brother and I, and my brother has volunteered to go first, are going to have to confront him by essentially saying, Dad, it's really important that you're honest about whether you are confused or intentionally lying, triangulating, or manipulating. Because that's the difference between us freaking out about your health versus us just understanding that sometimes you lie to push your agenda, but your brain is fine. Thank you to everyone who gave me feedback here. You were all so sweet and supportive, except that one guy who for some reason was very convinced that I didn't pay for my own home and commented several times and DM'd me about it. I did pay for my home. And it's solely in my name, weirdo.
It's a stalker, probably.
Stalker was like, that's not your house, it's my house.
Yeah.
It belongs to me.
We have comments here. Strange situation all around. If he has a history of weird fixations, that would be the cause I would lean towards. OCD can worsen with age, so it's possible that his symptoms' severity is worse. Or he's having more trouble with impulse control as he ages, causing him to act on his urges and verbalize them. But I doubt Dad is going to give OP or her brother any straight answers. That was my take as well. I bet his determination to deny OP's disability is conflicting with his OCD in a big way. It's no coincidence that he tried to damage one of their disability aids. All that nonsense about resale value and her nephews was him throwing out whatever BS he could think of to cover up how upset he was getting from seeing the assistive devices he wants to ignore but can't. Another reply, I mean, it could be dementia, but it also sounds like massive ableism coinciding with OCD. Having a disability is bad. Having visible signs of accommodation is bad. If I remove the accommodation, the bad will go away. I must remove this right effing now, and I can't do anything else until it's gone. Oh no, I've been caught doing something wrong, and I can't defend my reasoning. Make something up. Double down. That was the train of thought that Dad may have been hypothetically going through.
Like the little chart
Yeah, that was the flow chart of how we got there. Also, at 70, he's definitely feeling the mobility limitations, and seeing the renovations may have triggered something out of pure projection. We're going to read the last comment. You know what? I don't think this is about resale value or about Billy and Bobby moving in. I think it's just an ableist dad seeing disability aids as an eyesore and trying to BS his way out of it. And that's the end of that story.